one question
Yes.
actually. Could you go for block 7? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry if I disturb you in between. So I would like to ask different kind of question to you, then people can understand. Uh, uh, Guys, actually, I have a question. How can I call? What is the merge here? Actually, what is the merge? What is the merge? Anyone?
Is the
Merging
question to me?
columns, adding
Not.
columns,
Sorry.
adding columns of common customer ID.
No, no, no. I am saying, I am asking like, is it a method or is it a function or how do you say it, merge?
A
What is merge?
function.
Yeah.
Function
So
maybe.
how can you say merge is a function? Why not? Why can't you say uh, it is a method or some statement? How can you say it is a function?
Because there is PD before that, so it's like maybe it's
Is it
pandas
Ajit?
function. It's pandas function maybe.
It actually merge is a function. Okay. Remember the thing. A function always needs some parameters which you have to parse it. That's why if it follows is some kind of braces, and here you are parsing the parameters to here. Okay, how and on. So each and every function should contain different kind of parameters. So for that, I think you can search for Google Python help and the function name. So then it will tell all the different kind of syntaxes and all the parameters which you have to parse through this uh, function. So remember that merge is a function because it always requires some arguments, and a function always contains some kind of parenthesis. Yeah, yeah, yes, Risha. Yeah.
I
So
had one
even
question.
Mhm.
So instead of inner, what other ways can it be merged?
so you
There are
have
many.
four ways. You
Yeah.
have outer, left, right, and inner. So for inner, basically what it does is that it kind of like merges or combines data, which kind of like matches in both the columns. In outer, like for example, if you have like an empty data, say, usually it has like an NaN or so. So it in outer, if you mention outer, it combines even that. If you mention left, then based on your left rows, it kind of like merges, modifies the right row and merges the data. If you mention right, it's the vice versa. So you have four
Oh,
ways to do that. But if you don't mention anything, then it just by default takes inner. Can I go to the next?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Wait, yeah.
So again, you perform different operations to extract specific data. So here I want the customer segment as cooperate. So what this does is that here you can see the data in the customer segment, everything is cooperate, right? So this basically segregates the data whose customer segment is cooperate and then displays it together. This equal to symbol checks whether the customer segment is cooperate. And then again, you're merging two data frames together. So now you have data frame one with customer and sorry, with market and customer data frames, right? So this is your DF1. So it merges this with your product DF again. So you can like merge different data frames together to extract one particular data. So again, you give how as inner and on product ID. So in these two columns, sorry, in these two data frames, you have a particular column, like the same column is product ID. So it kind of like merges these two data frames together and provides the data. So now you could see like product category, you have product subcategory. So data from product DF is merged to the data frame one. And then again here you have another operation where you wanted product category to be office supplies and you want customer segment to be corporate. So you have like two needs, right? So you kind of like add the and symbol here to provide both the categorization, and then you create like a new data frame here. So now you
Srisha,
can see that.
can I use other operators like or some kind of comparative operators over there?
Yes, sir, you can.
Guys, do you know
Like
what
that
are
is
the
also.
yeah. Guys, do you know what are the comparative operators? Anyone? So here Sirisha mentioned AND operator. So what do you know any other comparative operators? See the beauty of like if you want to compare two tables, yeah, each one table here contains uh, uh, R is yeah, R is there, but like if you have more than like millions of one table contains 1 million, two second table contains another 1 million. If you want to compare something, yeah, particularly one column, one value with another value, so greater than or equal or less than or equal, all these things, yeah. We can use these. These are the comparative operators: greater than or equal, or less than or equal, not equal. Yeah, yeah. Sirisha, carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you have like the customer segment, everything is corporate, and then you have product category. Is that? Yeah. Everything in the product category is office supplies. So it creates like a new data. Here you merge another data frames together. Say here you have data frame 2 and then you have shipping. So it's like the same thing. So here you merge using the shipping ID. So this is something unique. So when you mentioned data frame dot shape, so here what it does is it returns a tuple. So what a tuple basically is multiple items in a single variable, which is really ordered and you can't change or modify data in a tuple. So the format of this is number of rows, and then here you have number of columns.
Why we have to use tuples, Srisha? Why? Why not dictionaries? And so what is the what are the basic difference between list or some kind of dictionaries and tuples?
In tuple, you can't modify data,
Mm-hmm.
but in the rest of it, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why we need these tuples? Anyone can say? I think you have these basic things. So why you need tuple? What are the reason? Why we have to use that?
Somebody talked of storing PIN.
Yeah, the mostly financial and security purpose actually. Okay. Yeah. For security reasons, most financial and banking sectors they are using such kind of a data bank, sorry, data types. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, anything related, but you can't change the data once you enter. That's it. So, but we can't modify the data. But if you want to add more thing, you have to create a new one, obviously. So that's why tuples are useful. Yeah. Yes, Risha, carry on.
So here again, you merge different data frames together. Now you have data frame 3 with order data frame. You merge this using the order ID. So again, it displaces both the data frames together. Next, we move on to the concatenation data frame. So again, you create two data frames with different input in it. So now you have like name, age, and gender for all, but you have like different data inside it. Here I display the data frame 1. So it displays in rows and columns. And then I display data frame 2. Again, it displays rows and columns. So yeah, Here concatenation, I use the function concat to display the data frame 1 and 2. So access can either be 0 or 1. So access basically returns a Boolean value, true or false. So same, if I give access equal to 0, it concatenates only the rows, it checks only for the rows. If I give 1, it checks for columns. So 0 is rows and 1 is columns. So here, since you have like a common column, name, age, and gender is common. So you need to concatenate based on the rows, right? Because you have common columns, so you can add the rows to it. So you give access as 0. And then so instead of using the concat function, you can even use append. It does like the same operation. So basically, you add the data in the data frame 2 to data frame 1 using the append function. It works same as concat function. It's just an alternative.
Here we can see that the index like it again starts from 0.
Where? In 16?
So is there any way to like it goes 0 1 2 3 and then 0 1 2? Is there any way
Yeah.
to make it 0 1 2 3?
No, because you're combining two data frames, and the indexes in one particular data frame would be 0, 1, 2, and in a separate data frame, it would be 0, 1, 2 again, right? So when you combine those two, it just displaces this way.
Okay. And is the new concatenated data frame treated as one single or
This data frame,
yeah?
this basically alters the data frame 1. But if you mention, say, if you mention you wanted like a different data frame, then that is also possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in attend, can we do with the column, or is just we can do with the row?
It's
Like
based
in
on what data you want. So here you have to do it with the row because you can't add new columns. So you wanted to add rows. I have another example with column. We can look at as well. Both is possible. Like for this example, like it's not feasible to add one here because you don't have new columns, because you have common columns. You're adding new rows to it. But I'll show you that as well. So yeah, so here if you see, you have a data frame with the name, age, and gender. This is DF1. And again, you have another data frame with school and graduation marks, right? So you wanted to combine these two data frames together. What access will you use? Like, can anybody say? Like, will you give access 0 or will you give access 1?
I think
Axis one.
one,
For
because
column, we have to
columns
give
are
one.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, so you use the column. See, now if you give access 1, this basically combines like this columns into the data frame 1. It's based on like what data you want to extract. So since like you can add like if you look at the data, you would like know if you wanted to use access 0 or 1. So this is for access 1.
So yeah, this thing I was asking, can we do this thing with the column thing? Can we do this with the append function?
You mean here?
So in this
Yeah, that is
function
also
where you
possible.
give axis is equal to 1,
Yeah,
so we are taking columns, right? We are adding more
yeah,
columns to it, to the data
yeah,
frame.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that is also
if we
possible.
want to
Instead of,
add more, with append function, there is append function you used before, right?
yes,
So
yeah,
yeah,
you
that
can do
I
that
was
also.
asking ki it can. Okay. and how? Yeah.
Uh, yeah, here, right? So this I've done it for this example, but then I haven't done it there. So if you want it for this particular data frame, then you can give like it's like the same way. You use df1 dot concat df2 in the bracket. So it displays is the same way.
So we don't have to give access in the append function, right?
Uh,
Are you getting what I'm saying? Like maybe I'm not able to make you understand. Hello.
yeah, yeah. I couldn't get
So
your question.
so I was basically asking.
Hmm?
So for this concat function,
Yeah.
axis is equal to when one means you are taking adding rows, right?
Hmm?
When you are giving axis is equal to 1, so you are adding more column to the data frame.
Yeah.
So when you are doing this append, you doing this axis 0 thing with append function here in 16 number line code.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are adding more rows to it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was asking, can we do this append with append function? Can we add more columns to the data frame?
Yeah, yeah,
Like you
yeah.
did
You
it.
don't have to mention the axis. You can directly do it with the append function. Concat,
So
like append is like an alternative for concat.
okay, so like pd dot append and then bracket df
Yes.
detour.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. So here you're doing arithmetic operations. So here I have IPL data of 2018. And then here I have IPL data of 2017. Like it's, yeah. So I'm like doing like a basic add operator. I'm using like a basic add operator. So I'm assigning a variable called total, and then I add IPL underscore 2018 plus IPL underscore 2017. So what this does is to add these both data frames together into a single data frame. And then you can even like use the add function. So the fill value here, like it fills like the missing value with like the assigned value. For example, say in this CSK, you have like NaN is like an empty value. So you have like an empty value. And then here, sorry, yeah. And then here you have CSK as like 16 and 11. So when you combine these both, it basically like takes like the value that is present and displaces it. Like here you can see like 16 and 11. Like for example, if there is no data in like both the tables, then it again like returns like an NaN value. But if any one table has the data, it displaces that data. So that is like add is like the function used, and parameter is the fill value. So here fill value can be like if you give it a 0, it fills in like the missing values that is assigned. And then I again try to calculate the percentage, the win percentage. Say in CSK match, we have like the number of match played and the number of match won. So basically you perform this mathematical operation. So the total of matches won by the total of matches played gives you like the win percentage, and then you display the total. So what this operation basically does is to calculate win percentage for each team here. So these are like the very basic operators. You use like the very basic operators here. And then you have sort by, like you sort values, or say you wanted to find out the team with most number of wins. So here what it does is you use the sort value function. Yeah, so it sorts by the matches 1 and the win percentage, and you give the ascending as false. So any questions?
Yeah, no, I think you can carry on.
Okay.
Why there
So
are
the
mass? Why there are two arguments, matches 1 and also match win percentage? What does it sort it on?
no matches 1 and win percentages in a list. So based on this value, it like sorts the data.
Does it sort based on the matches 1 or does it sort based on win percentage?
Like it sorts based on like the total number of wins. Like it sorts in ascending order. Yeah, it sorts based on the win percentage, but here I've given the parameters in a list name matches 1 and win percentage.
Okay.
So here you can like use like different operators, say addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, flow divide, mod, power. You can try and use in all these operators. Next, we'll move on to lambda functions. Again, it's the same. You import all the libraries and then you create different data frames, same as the above, and then you read all the CSV files. And then here you merge all the data frames together, and then you create a single data frame called master data frame. So it contains like data frame with all the other data frames as well. So basically here you can see like market DF and customer DF data frames are inside DF1. So you use this DF1 to merge it with the product DF. And again, you use DF2 to merge it with shipping DF, and then you find like DF3. So DF3 is merged with orders DF. So master DF contains all the data from the data frame, like 1, 2, and 3. And then yeah, master df dot head basically displaces the first 5 rows from the data frame. So you have all the data, all the columns and rows from these data frames. Next, we'll move on to lambda function. So here you're creating like a new column. You're adding a new column inside the master data frame, and which basically displaces if it's a profit or if it's not a profit. So here you create a function called is positive, and it would basically return a value which is greater than 0. So what I'm doing here is that I'm adding a new column. See, is profit. So this basically returns like false or true values, zeros or ones. So it like checks for the profit. Say here you have minus 30.51, which is a loss. So this basically displaces false. And then you have 1148.90, which is a profit. It displaces a true. So I use the apply function here again. And then I create like, yeah, again, it's like is profit. And then I kind of like group the data together. So here I use the group by function. So what group by function does is that it so since you have like a one data frame name master data frame here, so it groups data based on the customer segment. So you have like a different customer segment for each entry, right? So one time it can be customer, one time it can be home office or corporate. It can be many things for different data. So this kind of like groups the data based on the customer segment. So here it lists out like all the customer segment in the in rows, and then it calculates the mean of the profit here for all the entries. Say like you have 10 rows with customer segment as home office, it calculates the mean of everything and then displays it here. Here again, you group by product category. So here you have furniture, office supplies, and technology. And again, you kind of like find the mean of the profit here. So mean is again a function here. Yeah. So here you can use like apply and lambda together. Um, say if like my round is just a minute. So I've given like the round function. Here it kind of like displaces one decimal value. Like that's like the only difference here. You add in the row round function, which displaces just the one decimal place. Here again, I calculate profit. I add a new column called profit per quality. Here you could see it. So this, and then I perform like the basic operation, mathematical operation. So I like divide profit by the order quantity, and then I display the profit per quality. Like I add a new column to this master data frame. And then an alternative to group by is the pivot tables. So here you kind of like compare the sales of based on the customer segment. So I give here the pivot table function, and then these are the parameters in it. So I enter the values as sales, and then index as customer segment, and the function is mean. So I calculate mean value like for the sales. So these are like the customer segments. So you have consumer, corporate, home office, small business. So it calculates the mean. So instead of group by, you use the pivot table as an alternative. So again, here the index is region. So it displays as region, and it calculates the is profitable. Like it here you use the sum. There you have mentioned the mean, right? So it calculates mean value. Here, as you have given sum, it calculates the sum of each and every category. So here you are doing three basic things. So you're grouping both rows and columns together, and then you compare like the profit of the category and the customer segment. And then you can like use both rows and columns. Like you can mention both the categories together. So now you have like the customer segment and product category together in this, and then you calculate like consumer, corporate, home office, small business are these categories in customer segment. So it calculates the sum. Here you have mentioned sum, right? It calculates sum based on both the categories. And then here you basically display all the mean values of the column product category. So pivot table is basically like an alternative for group by. Any questions? Okay, I'll move on to the next one. So the next one is grouping and summarizing of data frames. Here you do three basic parts. First one is splitting of data and then applying and then combining. So splitting of data is the data is split into like groups, say a group of customer segment, product category. That is like splitting of data. And then applying is a function to each group. So you apply like a function to each group, say since you've seen this in the previous example as well, so you calculate mean and then you calculate sum. So that is like applying a function to it. And then you combine these two data frames together and then you provide like a overall result. So that is like the summary. So this again does like all the basic things. You import all the libraries and then you read all the CSV files and create data frames for it. So again, you're like merging all the data frames into a single data frame called master data frame. So, and then you display the first 5 rows from the master DF. You could see it here. Like you can just put in like master underscore DF without the head. It displaces all the rows. If you add head, it displaces the first 5 rows. So again, here you use like the group by function. So here it groups by the customer segment. So if you like, even in these are like the basic SQL statements. Like even if you read SQL structured query language, you come across these basic functions name or like group by. And then here you apply a function to it. This is the second part. Here you have like sum, right? Like these are something we have seen in the previous example as well. So you calculated the mean, you calculated the sum. So this is the same. So you calculate the sum of profit of each customer segment in this. And then so here you have given it as a list. You can just put like a dot profit dot sum, which is more or less the same. This is just an alternative method to it. And then here you use the sort value function. So basically this sorts the value of the sum in like, say you have like an order, right? Like this is like the maximum sum value and these are like the minimum sum value. So basically you sort the values. So here you combine two results. So basically you create like you have like a data frame with you know sum of profits of the customer segment, and then you have grouped it by product category. You have mean of the product category. So here what I do is that I kind of like there are categories and subcategories. So you find like the least profitable and like the maximum profitable in each column. So now you have like furniture, office supplies, technology, and so on. So this basically like calculate all the categories because you have mentioned the mean function here, and then it displaces it. Yeah. So here you have the describe function. Like if you wanted to perform different functions together, you use like the describe function. So you have like count, mean, standard, minimum, percentage, maximum. So based on the profit, you kind of like categorize every category. Here you use the count function. So what the count function basically does is that it counts like the number of rows which contain product category as furniture and as office supplies and as technology, and this displaces like the count value. So you have 1724 number of furnitures belonging to the furniture category. So here again you use like the minimum function. Here you use the mean function. Minimum is used for to find the profit of the product category. Here again profit for region. So here you kind of like calculate sales across each region as a percentage of total sales. So you wanted to like based on the region. So since you've given group by region, region is like the main here. So it groups by the region and it calculates the sum of sales. And then to calculate sum, you have given like master DF sales into 100. So this basically like list out the sum of all the sales in this particular region. I think that's all for today. Any doubts?
Guys, do you have any questions? Okay, if not, I will send a basic exercises on these topics to Ritish. So Ritish will send it to all of you. And yeah, so if you don't have any questions, if it is okay, then we are going to close this session. Can we get the sample CSV file to work on? Yeah, why not? Yeah, I think yeah, we will send the sample CSV file, and otherwise the simple thing is you can get a number of CSV files from just Google it. You can get many different kind of CSV files, but I prefer you guys download any linguistics based CSV file, and let's see. Yeah, there are some linguistics based phonology based CSV files, but we will send it. This is not a problem. Yeah.
Or we can even create our own CSV files, like if it's like a simple project.
Yeah,
Here
yeah.
I've created a CSV file with student data.
Mhm.
So you can even like give an entry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shyam, shall we close the session?
Yes, you can. If they don't have any question, then you can.
Yeah. Okay, then. Yeah. See you tomorrow. I think the same link works out, right? Okay. See you tomorrow. Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so the whole point was that I could put in a round slash there. All right, so this is what you got. So you have in, after that you got only PP dollar, and you have a with, after that you got NP and NS. Those are the different kinds of nouns, at least the kinds of nouns that we define that we got here. So let me remove all this commented out print statements just to make them good look cleaner. And if there are questions, please feel free to ask.
Here we got the tag, like after proposition, like the tag. But about the words, if I am supposed to get
you replace that with what? Instead of appending the next tag here, you append the next word. The same logic, right? So,
hello, sir.
You can get, just give me a minute, question. I'll just answer this question.
Thank you. Today's class sheet. So circulate that amount.
And instead of tag, we run this, got the words, right? So, but we are still checking for the this noun type. You could actually, if you don't want this, you could actually remove